All right, ready to dive into something golden today.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
Turmeric. You know that bright yellow spice?
Ah, turmeric. I love using it in my cooking.
We all know it from the spice rack, but we're going deeper today, way beyond just flavor.
Deeper, you say.
I'm all ears.
We're talking history, traditional uses, all those health claims swirling around.
Yeah, turmeric's definitely having a moment.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it.
Exactly. So we're going to try to uncover the truth about turmeric. Does it really live up to all the hype?
That's a great question. It's going to be interesting to see what we uncover.
We're going to be using an article called Turmeric, the golden spice of health and flavor, as our guide today.
Okay, sounds like a good place to start. So where do we begin?
Well, let's start with the basics. Where does turmeric even come from?
Well, the article tells us turmeric comes from the root of a plant called Curcuma longa.
Curcuma longa. That's a mouthful.
It is, and it's actually part of the ginger family.
So turmeric is like ginger's cousin. Exactly. And it thrives in those warm tropical climates. Think Southeast Asia, places like India and Indonesia.
Okay, so picture lush green fields, warm sunshine.
That's the perfect environment for turmeric to grow.
But the article also mentions that in ancient India, turmeric was more than just a spice.
Oh, absolutely. In ancient India, turmeric was like a multi-purpose superstar.
Really? Tell me more.
Well, they used it in religious ceremonies, added it to dyes to create vibrant yellow textiles. And it was a staple in Ayurvedic medicine used to treat various ailments.
Wow, so it was like this ancient multitasker, used for pretty much everything.
You could say that. It was incredibly valued.
But how did this golden wonder spread beyond Southeast Asia?
Trade routes, my friend. Think of ancient routes like the Silk
The
Road.
Silk Road.
Yep. Turmeric traveled alongside other precious goods. It made its way to the Middle East, then eventually reached Europe.
It's amazing how a simple spice could connect cultures across such vast distances.
It really is. Spices were like the original global connectors.
Okay, so we've got this ancient, well-traveled spice. But what makes it nutritionally interesting? Is it really as potent as people claim?
Well, turmeric is surprisingly low in calories.
So not exactly a powerhouse there.
True, but it does offer some key nutrients. 1 tablespoon gives you a good dose of vitamin C and manganese.
Okay, so it's got some nutritional value, but I feel like there's more to the story.
You're right, there is. The real star of the show here is curcumin.
Curcumin, that's the one everyone's raving about these days. Huh?
Exactly. Curcumin is what gives turmeric its vibrant yellow color.
Okay, but what makes it so special?
Well, curcumin is a polyphenol with potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties.
Antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. Those are the buzzwords in the health world, but what do they actually mean for us?
Let's break it down.
Perfect. Let's start with anti-inflammatory action. The article really emphasizes that as a key benefit.
Right, and for good reason. You see chronic inflammation.
Inflammation, that's like when things get red and swollen, right?
Exactly. And when that inflammation becomes chronic, it's linked to a whole host of diseases. We're talking heart disease, cancer, even Alzheimer's.
Wow, that's a pretty scary list. So how does curcumin help with that?
Well, curcumin works by inhibiting those molecules in the body that trigger inflammation.
So it's like putting out the fire before it spreads.
That's a great way to put it. And that's why researchers are exploring turmeric's potential for managing conditions like arthritis.
Arthritis, where joints get inflamed and painful.
Yes, and other inflammatory conditions like inflammatory bowel diseases.
Okay, that's starting to make sense. Now, what about this antioxidant power the article keeps mentioning?
All right, so picture this. Free radicals.
Free radicals. Sounds dangerous.
They can be. Think of them as unstable molecules that can damage your cells.
Like little troublemakers running around.
Exactly. And that damage can lead to aging and various diseases.
So antioxidants are like the superheroes that fight them off.
Perfect analogy. And curcumin is a powerful antioxidant.
So it neutralizes those free radicals.
It does. But it also boosts your body's own antioxidant enzymes, giving your natural defenses an extra boost.
Wow, so it's like a double defense system.
Exactly. It's a pretty impressive feat for a humble spice.
Now, this next one really caught my attention. The brain-boosting potential of turmeric.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets fascinating. There's a growth hormone in our brains called BDNF.
BDNF, okay.
Right.
Why is that important?
BDNF is crucial for the growth and survival of our brain cells. It's like fertilizer for the brain, keeping it healthy and functioning properly.
So what happens when BDNF levels are low?
While low BDNF has been linked to conditions like depression and Alzheimer's disease.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here.
Some research suggests that curcumin might actually increase BDNF levels.
Really? So turmeric could potentially help protect our brains as we age.
It's still early research, but the findings are promising.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. But speaking of vital organs, what about turmeric and heart health? The article mentioned that too.
Yes, and it goes back to inflammation. Remember, chronic inflammation is a major contributor to heart disease.
Right, so curcumin's anti-inflammatory powers come into play here as well.
Exactly. By reducing inflammation, curcumin may help protect the heart. It may also improve the function of our blood vessels.
So it's like giving our cardiovascular system a little TLC.
Exactly. And then there's the whole turmeric and cancer conversation.
Yeah, I've heard so much about that. Is there any truth to those claims?
It's important to be cautious with claims like that. Research is still ongoing, and it's not a magic cure.
Okay, I understand. So what does the research actually say?
Well, some studies suggest that curcumin might hinder the growth of cancer cells and even their ability to spread.
So it's not eliminating cancer, but potentially slowing it down.
That's a good way to put it. The most promising findings seem to be related to breast, colon, and prostate cancers.
It definitely sounds promising. But let's switch gears for a moment and talk about turmeric's traditional use for digestive health.
Ah, yes. Turmeric has a long history of being used to ease digestive discomfort.
Like when you eat something that doesn't agree with you.
Exactly. Think bloating, gas, indigestion. And there's some science to back this up.
Okay, I'm interested. Tell me more.
Turmeric stimulates bile production, which is essential for breaking down fats.
So it helps our bodies process those rich foods.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about those anti-inflammatory properties.
Right, because inflammation in the gut can cause a lot of problems.
Absolutely. Researchers are exploring turmeric's potential for managing conditions like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome.
IBS, yeah, I've heard of that. It could be really debilitating for some people.
It can. And ulcerative colitis, another inflammatory bowel disease.
So turmeric could be a natural way to soothe those digestive woes.
Potentially. It's exciting to see how traditional knowledge is now being backed up by scientific research.
The article also mentions turmeric's ability to boost our immune system.
Yes, this is where curcumin's immune-modulating properties come into play.
Immune modulating, what does that even mean?
It means that curcumin can help regulate and balance the immune system.
So it's not just about boosting it, it's about keeping it in check.
Exactly. It's about ensuring the immune system is functioning optimally, not overreacting or underreacting.
Makes sense. So how does this help us?
Well, it could be particularly beneficial for people with autoimmune diseases or those with weakened immune systems.
So it's like fine-tuning the body's defenses.
Precisely. And on top of that, turmeric also has natural antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties.
Wow, so it's like this multi-pronged defense system, fighting off all sorts of nasty bugs.
You could say that. It's a pretty impressive resume for a spice, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. But let's not forget that turmeric is more than just a medicine cabinet staple. It's also a culinary superstar.
Ah, now we're talking. Turmeric is a flavor chameleon, bringing vibrancy and warmth to dishes all around the world.
Let's start with its most famous role in Indian cuisine. The article calls it a cornerstone of Indian cooking.
Think of all those rich, fragrant curries, vibrant yellow rice dishes, flavorful soups. Turmeric is a key player in creating those signature flavors.
It's hard to imagine Indian food without that golden hue.
Right. And let's not forget those iconic spice blends like garam masala. Turmeric is a key ingredient there as well.
I love garam masala. It adds such depth and complexity to dishes.
And those iconic dishes like dal and butter chicken wouldn't be the same without a touch of turmeric.
It's like the golden thread weaving through all those amazing flavors.
I like that. The golden thread of Indian cuisine.
But turmeric's culinary journey doesn't end in India, does it? The article mentions its presence in Middle Eastern and North African cooking as well.
Absolutely. Turmeric brings its warmth and earthy notes to those regional specialties, too.
Give me some examples.
Well, think fragrant rice dishes, hearty stews, flavorful tagines. Turmeric adds a wonderful depth of flavor.
And what about those exotic spice blends I always see in recipes, like Baharat and Ras El Hanout?
Those are must-haves. They often feature turmeric as a key ingredient, adding a touch of warmth and complexity to various meat and vegetable dishes.
It's amazing how turmeric transcends geographical boundaries, adding its magic touch to so many diverse cuisines.
Food is a great unifier, and turmeric definitely plays a starring role in that global culinary tapestry.
But we focus a lot on savory dishes. What about using turmeric in beverages?
Ah, great question. Turmeric isn't limited to savory applications. Have you ever tried golden milk?
Golden milk. I've heard of it, but never tried it. What is it exactly?
It's also known as a turmeric latte. You essentially simmer turmeric with milk.
What kind of milk?
Any milk will do, but almond milk or coconut milk are popular choices. And you add ginger, maybe some other spices like cinnamon or cardamom, and a touch of sweetener if you like.
So it's like a warm, comforting, and healthy drink.
Exactly. It's been used for centuries in Ayurvedic practices to boost immunity, reduce inflammation, and even promote restful sleep.
Sign me up. I could definitely use some of that.
It's a delicious ritual for well-being. And don't forget about turmeric's vibrant color.
Right. It's a natural food coloring agent, too.
Think of that bright yellow rice, some cheeses, even mustard. Turmeric is responsible for that cheerful hue.
It's like nature's own sunshine and a spice.
And speaking of natural dyes, turmeric has also been used for centuries in textile dyeing.
So those vibrant yellows and oranges in traditional Indian and Southeast Asian clothing?
Turmeric might be the secret ingredient. It's truly a versatile spice.
Okay, so we've explored turmeric's culinary adventures, but let's circle back to its roots in traditional medicine systems.
Sounds good. We've touched on Ayurveda a bit, but let's delve a bit deeper.
Perfect. What's the Ayurvedic perspective on turmeric?
Well, in Ayurveda, turmeric is seen as a pitta dosha pacifier. Remember we talked about doshas earlier.
Right, those energies that influence our constitution.
Exactly. And turmeric's cooling and soothing properties are believed to help balance excess pitta energy.
So it's like bringing those energies back into harmony.
Precisely. And it's also used to improve digestion, support liver function, and promote healthy blood circulation.
It seems like a cure-all in Ayurveda.
It's certainly a versatile remedy. Now, how about traditional Chinese medicine? Have you heard of that?
Yes, TCM. What's their take on turmeric?
In TCM, turmeric is considered to have warming properties. They use it to invigorate blood circulation and alleviate pain.
What kind of pain?
Menstrual cramps are a common one, and pain associated with arthritis. They also use it for digestive issues like bloating and gas.
So both Ayurveda and TCM see turmeric as beneficial for inflammation and digestion, even if their approaches differ.
Exactly. It's fascinating how different cultures, even with diverse healing traditions, have recognized turmeric's therapeutic potential for centuries.
It really makes you wonder if there are other natural remedies out there just waiting to be rediscovered.
Absolutely. There's so much we can learn from traditional wisdom and practices.
I'm curious about something the article mentions regarding curcumin supplements.
You're thinking about the fact that curcumin only makes up about 3% of turmeric by weight.
Exactly. So if you want higher concentrations of curcumin, supplements seem like the way to go.
That's right. Supplements can provide a more concentrated dose of curcumin, but it's important to remember that more isn't always better.
Good point. So what should people consider before taking curcumin supplements?
First and foremost, talk to your doctor. They can help determine the appropriate dosage and ensure it doesn't interact with any medications you're taking.
That's always good advice. Are there any specific medications that people should be extra cautious about when using turmeric?
Yes, turmeric can have blood-thinning effects. So if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, caution is advised.
So it's not something to take lightly. Any other potential interactions to be aware of?
Turmeric could potentially interact with medications for diabetes, high blood pressure, even some antidepressants.
Wow. It's really important to talk to your doctor before adding turmeric to your regimen, especially in supplement form.
Absolutely. Safety should always come first. And it's worth noting that even with regular turmeric consumption, there can be side effects.
So turmeric is not a free pass. What are some things to watch out for?
Well, we talked about blood thinning, and excessive intake can lead to gastrointestinal issues like stomach upset or diarrhea.
Right. Moderation is key.
Exactly. And if you have gallbladder problems, turmeric might worsen symptoms.
So if you have a history of gallstones or other gallbladder issues, it's best to talk to your doctor.
Absolutely. And pregnant or breastfeeding women should also exercise caution. Small amounts in food are probably fine, but high doses or supplements are not recommended.
It seems like personalized advice is really important when it comes to turmeric.
It is. What works for one person might not work for another. And while turmeric has garnered a lot of attention for its potential health benefits, it's important to approach it with a balanced perspective.
Right. It's not a miracle cure.
Exactly. It's crucial to separate the hype from the science and be discerning consumers of information.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
But even with those precautions, there's no denying that turmeric has a lot to offer.
Absolutely. And it's exciting to see how scientific research is delving deeper into understanding the mechanisms behind those benefits. We're just scratching the surface of what this golden spice can do.
It's amazing to think about how something as simple as a spice can hold so much potential.
And it's a testament to the power of both traditional knowledge and modern scientific advancements. We're going to unpack even more about turmeric in the next parts, especially those miracle cure claims we talked about earlier.
That sounds like a plan. So for now, dear listener, keep that golden curiosity burning as we delve even deeper into the world of turmeric.
I can't wait. Welcome back to our turmeric deep dive.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing how much we covered in part 1.
From ancient history to cooking and all those potential health benefits.
And you mentioned something about miracle cure claims.
Yeah, remember. A lot of hype around turmeric these days.
We definitely need to address that.
It's important to be realistic. Turmeric's not a magic bullet.
So let's talk dosage. The article wasn't very specific. Is there like an ideal amount of turmeric you should be taking?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Unfortunately, there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
So it depends on the person.
Exactly. Your age, health conditions, even the form of turmeric matters.
Okay, so how do you even begin to figure out the right amount?
Well, if you're just starting out, a safe bet is around 1/2 to 1.5 teaspoons of ground turmeric per day.
That doesn't sound too hard to incorporate.
You can sprinkle it on roasted veggies, add it to soups, smoothies, get creative.
What about those curcumin supplements? They're everywhere these days.
Supplements can definitely provide a more concentrated dose of curcumin, but again, dosage recommendations can vary.
So talk to your doctor before jumping on the supplement bandwagon.
Always a good idea. They can help figure out the right dosage for you.
Speaking of interactions, are there any medications people should be careful about mixing with turmeric?
Yes, turmeric can thin the blood, so if you're on blood thinners like warfarin,
Oh, that's important to know.
definitely. And turmeric could also interact with meds for diabetes, high blood pressure, even some antidepressants.
Sounds like a conversation with your doctor is essential.
Always better to be safe than sorry. And speaking of safety, the article didn't really talk about downsides.
Yeah, it focused mainly on the potential benefits.
Right, so let's flip the coin for a moment. There are some potential downsides to be aware of.
Okay, lay it on me. What should people watch out for?
Well, we already touched on blood thinning, but large amounts of turmeric can also cause stomach issues like upset stomach, diarrhea, heartburn.
Not fun. Anything else?
If you have gallbladder problems, turmeric could make things worse. So if you've had gallstones...
Just to check with your doctor first.
Exactly. And pregnant or breastfeeding women, also a good idea to talk to their doctor.
Sounds like moderation and personalized advice are key.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, while turmeric is promising, it's not a miracle cure.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype.
Right. But it's important to separate that from the actual science.
So how do we become more savvy about evaluating those health claims we see everywhere?
Look for research from reputable sources, published in scientific journals. Don't just rely on anecdotes or testimonials.
So basically, don't believe everything you read online.
Exactly. Be critical, do your research.
Okay, now let's talk about something called bioavailability.
Ah, yes. Big word, but important concept.
Break it down for me.
Bioavailability basically means how well your body can absorb and use a substance.
So like how much of the good stuff actually gets into our system?
Precisely. And curcumin, unfortunately, has relatively low bioavailability.
So even if you eat a lot of turmeric, your body might not be able to absorb much curcumin.
That's the tricky part. But there are ways to boost that absorption.
Like what? Give me some tips.
Remember that black pepper trick we talked about earlier?
With the piperine.
Exactly. Combining turmeric with black pepper can significantly enhance curcumin absorption.
Simple yet effective.
Yeah. And another trick is consuming turmeric with healthy fats.
Why does that matter?
Curcumin loves fat. It dissolves in fat, making it easier for your body to absorb.
So adding turmeric to a meal with olive oil, coconut oil, or avocado.
Smart move. And finally, there are curcumin supplements designed to enhance bioavailability.
Oh, like those fancy ones with liposomes or nanoparticles?
Those are the ones. They basically protect curcumin from breaking down in the gut, allowing it to get into your bloodstream.
It's fascinating how science is constantly innovating.
It really is. And that's what makes this deep dive so exciting. We've got traditional wisdom and cutting-edge science coming together.
Okay, so we've covered dosage, potential downsides, even bioavailability.
We're getting a well-rounded picture of turmeric, separating fact from fiction.
And in part 3, we're going to dive even deeper into traditional medicine systems.
We'll explore how turmeric has been used for centuries in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine.
Can't wait. Stay tuned, listeners, for the final part of our turmeric deep dive. All right, welcome back to the final part of our turmeric journey.
It's been a deep dive, that's for sure.
We've gone from ancient history to modern science.
Uncovered so many fascinating facts about this golden spice.
But I'm really excited for this part. You mentioned traditional medicine systems and how they've used turmeric for centuries.
Yeah, we're going to explore that today, starting with Ayurveda.
Ayurveda, that's the ancient Indian healing system, right?
Exactly. It's a holistic system that's been around for over 5,000 years.
Wow, 5,000 years. That's incredible.
It emphasizes the balance of mind, body, and spirit.
So it's not just about treating physical symptoms.
It's about overall well-being, and turmeric plays an important role in Ayurveda.
The article mentioned turmeric being a pitta dosha pacifier. Can you explain that?
Sure. In Ayurveda, each person has a unique constitution made up of 3 doshas: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha.
Doshas. Those are like energy types, right?
Exactly. They influence our physical and mental characteristics.
So what's a pitta dosha?
Think fire. Pitta types are often energetic, passionate, and have a strong metabolism.
So they're like the fiery ones.
Exactly. But they can also be prone to inflammation, skin issues, digestive problems when pitta is out of balance.
Okay, so how does turmeric come in?
Turmeric is considered to have cooling and soothing properties. It helps balance that excess pitta energy.
So it's like bringing things back into harmony.
That's a great way to put it. And beyond balancing doshas, turmeric is used in Ayurveda to improve digestion, support the liver.
Lots of benefits.
Right. They even use it to promote healthy blood circulation.
Turmeric seems like a real multitasker in Ayurveda.
It really is. Now let's hop over to traditional Chinese medicine. Ever heard of that?
TCM, yes, of course.
So TCM also recognizes turmeric's healing properties.
But they see it a bit differently than Ayurveda, right?
They do. In TCM, turmeric is considered warming. It's often used to invigorate blood circulation and relieve pain.
What kind of pain?
Well, they use it for menstrual cramps, pain from arthritis.
Interesting. And what about digestive issues? Does TCM use turmeric for that too?
Absolutely. They use it for bloating, gas, you name it.
So both Ayurveda and TCM see turmeric as helpful for inflammation and digestion, even with their different approaches.
Exactly. It shows how cultures around the world have observed and utilized turmeric's healing power.
It makes you wonder if there are other natural remedies just waiting to be rediscovered.
I think so. There's a lot we can learn from these ancient traditions.
Combining that wisdom with modern science is a powerful approach.
I agree. And who knows what we might uncover in the future.
Turmeric's story is definitely not over yet.
Not even close. As research continues, we'll likely find even more applications for this golden spice.
It's inspiring to think about the potential hidden within something as simple as a spice.
And it reminds us to keep an open mind, be curious about both traditional knowledge and scientific discoveries.
Well said. So to our listeners, we encourage you to continue exploring the world of turmeric.
Add it to your cooking, try that golden milk, or even explore supplements.
But always remember,
talk to your doctor first, especially if you have any health concerns or are taking medications.
Safety first. Well, that brings us to the end of our turmeric deep dive.
What a journey it's been.
We've covered so much ground. Hopefully our listeners are feeling as golden about turmeric as we are.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure exploring this amazing spice with you.
Likewise. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
Happy discovering.
And that concludes our deep dive.